So this one is a good one. I'm going to enjoy this. You're going to enjoy this. We have here tonight a brother that, as I mentioned in my post today, has really had impact on multiple levels, on all the pillars of the culture, actually. But you may not know him from that. But what you know him from is something that, when it dropped, it was fresh and new, and we loved it. But over the course of time, we realized that this brother, along with Big Ill, created a classic. Not just one classic. They created multiple classics. These songs to this day, if you throw on Come Around My Way, if you throw on Outtaker in any party, people our age are going to wild out. Because we understand not just the music, not just from a sonic standpoint, but from the culture, what these brothers mean to us coming up. I want to introduce to some. I want to present to others my brother Al Skratch. Oh man, this is amazing. This is an honor. This is an honor. So we're going to jump right into it. I asked everybody the same question. First off, where you from? Like, I read that you were born in Bed-Stuy, but then you moved uptown.
That's
where you
correct.
from?
I was born in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn.
Where?
Chauncey Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 478 Chauncey Street, in the house in the brownstone.
Mm-hmm.
And resided in Brooklyn for a couple of years, till I was about like 9 years old or whatever. And then I moved uptown to Harlem.
Okay, where in Harlem?
156 in Broadway, which is
actually,
technically, it's like Washington Heights.
Right.
But it's like 1 block away from what they call Harlem.
What was the biggest change? Because like you were 9 years old, so you were a kid. You remember this.
Yes.
What was one of the biggest kind of differences in Chauncey Street versus 55th?
I would say the biggest difference was more just geographically, you know, I was on the hill on 156 uptown. There's a lot of hills uptown, you know what I mean, in the Heights.
Right.
Just being in Brooklyn, from what I remember, everybody was like, it was like a more of a family setting, because you got houses on both sides of the street in Chauncey, and everybody kind of knew each other, you know what I'm saying, going to each other's backyard parties and things of that nature. Now being uptown, it's more like a tenement building, basically, where you go in your door, boom, that's it. That's it. Unless you go out on the block, on the corner, and then we convene and just talk and chop it up that way.
Got siblings?
Yes.
Brothers, sisters?
Brothers, sisters. I got 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
And where do you fall in that?
In the middle. Somewhere like in the middle towards the tail end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you grew up in Washington Heights after you left BK?
Yes. But I was always back and forth. Of course, I still went to school in BK.
Oh, okay.
Yes, indeed.
So, elementary, junior high?
Elementary school. So we took the train every day back to Brooklyn. You know what I mean? The 1 to the A to the J.
That's wild.
To Flushing Avenue.
Wow.
So, you know, my influence on hip hop was not only audio. I don't want to jump ahead.
No, you good. No,
it was really visual. You know, just being in the subways for that extended period of time, for years, riding back and forth.
Right.
Just seeing stuff like this all over the place was like, you know, an influence.
Now, I want you to expound on that, and the reason why I'm going to tell you, because kids now growing up in New York City, they didn't have the lesson in the culture that we had by riding the trains. I remember being in the train station and being amped when I saw a subway car that...
Louder.
Okay.
Yeah.
That when I saw a subway car that was tagged up.
Yes.
Like when you stand in a train station and a train came in and that shit was tagged up, you felt like a win almost, right? I remember Mayor Koch beefing on TV about graffiti. Right. So when we saw it, it was like a piece of us. Yes. So I want you to speak, because you said, you know, I was able to see the culture on the trains.
Exactly. So, you know, just for one example, like getting off on the 2, right? Because the 2 train goes up into the midsection of Harlem. The 1 train, you got to get off at 96. That's the last time they actually connect before they go downtown. So, you know, the 1 train will come. Sometimes the last stop will be 137, but my stop was 157. So by a result of me waiting for my train, sometimes I'll let trains skip just so I can see the 2 come down and see the whole cars, the bombers, that everything was going, because it was like being in a museum.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I wasn't just looking at one going, all right, let me get on the train. Sometimes moms would be like, yo, what took you so long to get home? Got to explain, like, you know, we was down there just watching. What you doing down there watching graffiti? What is this? That's not what you're supposed to be doing, you know. But we was just, you know, enthusiastically amazed by all the different colors. You know what I'm saying? And then to know people who actually went to like music and art and who went to certain schools and who you see that's just on these trains, that you may know them in the physical form,
right.
you're proud of what they're doing.
Right.
You know?
Right. Recognize it. We had a conversation with Carlos. So I want y'all to know that Carlos from Classic Materials in the building.
My brother.
Right, he's here. You know, also, I didn't get a chance to talk about my sister. Kaisha is here.
I'm here.
She's fresh. She's going to come to the front at some point. We got Jason in the building filming this. The whole family's here. But when we spoke to Carlos, one of the things he said was him knowing dudes that was bombing shit. So you would like see a dude name on a train and then you really knew him. Like, and he was like a star. Like, you're a star for doing that work.
Right.
You know, and that kind of was like, graffiti at the time was a major part of the culture. Speaking of that, when growing up, when did you first kind of realize that you were part of this hip hop thing, this culture of hip hop? Like, when were you conscious of it?
I was just talking to a homie earlier today about that, and I think it's the 40th year of Sucker MCs that came out. I believe it was 83. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I remember vividly being down the block in Harlem, and this is before we started going down to 40 Deuce, breaking and stuff. And all we had was this hard-ass cardboard.
Right.
And somebody came around with this just percussion and MC rhyming, and it was Sucker MCs. And we started breaking to it off of that. But I wasn't really a break dancer. I was more stand-up boogie type of guy because I'm more tall, linky.
No, I get it.
I ain't trying to do windmills, kick nobody in the fucking face.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So that's when I really felt like I'm a part of the culture in regards to just my little section uptown on the block. You know?
I read that you got your name because you were a DJ. A lot of people don't know that. Tell me about your DJ period.
DJ period, I want to say, is right around that time, you know, when I was around 13 years old. My man DJ Law, about 2 buildings down from me, you know, had equipment, and I would go to the crib, and we would be in there for hours just chopping up beats, you know what I mean, listening to joints, and right down the block from us was a group home, you know what I'm saying, and that's where some of the most fiercest MCs came out of, because they was hungry, they was real hungry, you know what I mean, but we did a routine one day, and I was just doing my job, keeping the beat on time, not trying to get crazy and show that I'm got skills, just keeping it on time with a little give it at certain points so they could breathe and be the star for what they need to do. Right. And they said, yo, we want you to be down with us. You know what I'm saying? And since your name is Alphonse, we just gonna call you Al Skratch because you keep shit on time. You're not doing nothing extra. It ain't skipping, it ain't jumping, you're not fucking up the routine. Right. So they gave me that name Al Skratch.
Right. Now as a DJ, like you was like going to Rock and Soul, right? Copping records, had the techniques, had the
salute to Rock and Soul, by the way, man.
Facts.
We appreciate you in the culture.
Big facts, big facts. So
I feel like he should move his mic to this side. Since he's pointing, like I feel like it'll be better. Like way up high. Right there.
Yeah, we good. We're gonna get it just right.
Technical difficulty. Is this good?
I think so, right?
Because
when he turns his head, Yep.
That's good money?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay.
What did you love most about DJing?
Oh man, what I loved about DJing, there's so many aspects to love about it. First, I love learning. I just love watching other DJs.
Right.
I love studying.
Yeah.
I love seeing how the difference between the master fader, the cue, and the equalization that's on the actual mixer, and then just, you know, catching a beat on the kick, the downbeat, the snare, the hi-hat, and just doing little tricks to make yourself unique and different from the average DJ or the regular DJ that's gonna do the same thing. You know what I mean? You gotta do something different to where it's like, yo, I like him. He's dope. You know what I mean?
Because we come from an era where the DJ was really the focal point.
Absolutely.
Right. We like the MC was like the hype man for the DJ at a point.
Right.
And then the MC, obviously evolved into what it is now, the rap star. But really, we come from a space where DJing was everything.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I DJ too. Like for me, it was like. So for example, I remember I had the Diana Ross joint that I can't remember what the sample was now, but my point is that these joints were original samples. Like, so you would hear the song, the rap joint, and my thing was always trying to hear the original piece that the rap song got it from.
Right.
And that was a lesson, like you said, learning the music. That was a lesson in and of itself, understanding where our music was even coming from.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? By going through crates. When was the first time you wrote a rhyme?
Ooh, first time I wrote a rhyme was probably in, I want to say 87. I think it was 87, my first composition book. Yeah, because the beatbox was back then. If you didn't have a DJ, you know, you had to have a beatbox. Right. So the beatbox, we had a beatbox, or the group had a beatbox initially, right. And he was rhyming. He wrote my first rhyme and wrote it in my composition book, and then I started like writing my little rhymes after that.
And so, you know, by the late '80s, you DJing, you a b-boy, you dancing, you rhyming, like. Did you really understand that this was going to be your life? Like, what did you want to be when you grew up at that time? Like, when you 15, 16 years old, what is it that Alphonse wanted to do with his life?
Well, in my high school book, he said I was going to be a doctor.
What high school you went to?
I went to Rice.
Oh, you went to Rice. Okay, yeah.
So,
Indeed.
You know what I mean? So, but, you know, I got blessed because right out of high school, I got a major label deal with Jive Zomba.
Right.
So in 87, 88, I was signed to a major label, and I was able to make a couple of dollars from it, buy my own equipment and not DJ at my man crib. So at that point, I was kind of taking it serious. But the group that I was in at the time, Party Posse, Cool Ted Love, Randy, and Lord Rhythm Composer, LRC. Basically, I want to say management, you know what I mean? We was young kids at the time. They had a vision for us. But just to be on the same label as KRS-One, Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince, Schoolie D, I mean, the likes of all of those brothers, and knowing what we could have done, the project that we put out, we wasn't happy with.
So you came out with, Party Posse came out with it?
Party Posse came out with an album called It's Party Time. A lot of people probably don't know that, but that's my history. And this is the hip hop closet, so today I'm cleaning up my closet.
I love that. You know, so we can find it. Like, if we
it's
look,
out there.
It's out there.
It's out there. You know what I'm saying? And I get a little pieces of, you know, things from certain songs.
You still get touch from it a little bit.
You know what I mean? Yes. So, that's, you know, dope. It's a blessing. It's a part of the history. But that was the beginning, early stages, like you said. Well, what am I going to do with this thing? Is it serious? Is it not serious? Right. But I wasn't in control of it at that point. Right. At that point, I was just a DJ, putting scratches on it. But there's one song that I actually do rhyme on.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. So, and that's funny, man, because it's like we went through an entire era of DJs winding up rhyming, right? But this is, you talking about way before that. Like, this was before when, like, Doo-Wop and his crew was rhyming, Live 95, they started rhyming. Like, you talking about way before that. So you was DJ you was on the crew as a DJ, but you came
to my lyrics.
How did your moms feel about it at the time?
She was like, you know, this rap shit it's crazy, man. This is crazy. My mom's actually worked in the shelter with Scotland Rock. They was co-workers. Wow. All right? So Christmas in the shelter. This is all things where it's like, okay, you trying to do this thing, but they was doing it. Right. They was really doing it at that point. You know what I mean? Or just beginning to really start doing it. Right. So what I was doing to her was like, all right, you playing around, they trying to do something over here, but she ain't hip hop, she don't know. Right. She knew that I was supposed to be scratching on her diamond tip needle on that hi-fi stereo. And she was gonna whip my sister's ass because she taught me how to scratch on that thing. Right. So that's how she looked at it. Right. You know, but years later, she begged me to come to the Beacon, and I'll get into that. She came around some people she shouldn't have been around. But
Party Posse, you drop an album. When do y'all get dropped from Jive?
That's a good question. I can't really remember. I want to say it was maybe 2 years after. We had a manager who was actually, you know, we all connected. So my manager at that time was actually the same manager for Cool Mo D, LaVeba Mallison. All right, so salute to LaVeba Mallison too for even walking us in the door to get the opportunity to be on a major label at such a young age. The experience was great, although it didn't turn out how we would have liked it to be as far as musically and what we could have done as far as real, you know, MCs from New York City. But, you know, he managed Cool Mo D at the time, but I think at that point, Mo had begun some back and forth with LL, or something was going on. So it was kind of
beef, right?
Yeah, there was something going on with that. So we was kind of taking the back burner to that, and he knew we was dissatisfied with the vision that they had for us to try to achieve on that label.
What did you learn from that experience?
What I learned from that experience early on is to, you know, to be more vocal. You got to be more vocal, even as a child or a teenager who may not have experience about something. You may have a veteran who has many years of doing something, but a new set of eyes can give that person vision. and open up other avenues. So we're like, oh shit, yo, blood, I didn't even think about it that way.
Right.
Let me try doing it that way. You know what I'm saying? But if you just sit quiet and let somebody kind of take your hand and try to walk you through and don't really speak up, you could be led astray from what your dream and passion is. You know? But it opened the door for me at the same time, like I said, as far as the industry itself.
Right.
You know, so it's a blessing at the same time.
When did you decide, listen, I'm gonna rhyme? Like, that's gonna be who I am?
I said I'm gonna rhyme when one of the MCs, a couple of the MCs, you know, Party Posse separated, and my man Ted Love, me and him had a group called the Al and Ted Experience. All right, we had a production deal with Trackworks, which was out of Soundtrack Studios, which is in the city in Chelsea. We put out a single called "Boom This in Your Vehicle." That's documented too. There's a video in that too. But Ted, unfortunately, at the time went through some things where, you know, that group also got disbanded or whatever, and it fell apart. But the opportunity, once again, was still there with a major label. And at the time, I had LG, which is one of the producers from Where My Homies, was working with Big Ill the Mac, our lyrical lord. And he had just came off of a stint, you know, doing some performances in the city and getting an unsigned hype. I think it was called Unsigned Hype, right?
In the Source.
In the Source,
right.
Unsigned Hype. So he was like, yo, Al, you know, you and Ted just did this joint. You know, my man Ill, he like your flavor, your style, how your voice sound. You know, you want to do something with his demo. He's trying to put together a demo so he can get a deal. I said, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? So we did the demo. The demo for Ill was called Creep With Me.
Creep With Me.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And that was the title of the album. But we didn't know we was going to be a group at that time.
You know, one of the things I want to talk to you about is you're very talented musically. Like, and I mean, we're going to talk about, obviously we're going to talk about Where the Homies, and, you know, I really want to, like, kind of touch on that track individually, because that track is amazing to me. But, bro, you sing, you got flow, you DJ. Like, I remember growing up, my moms used to make me dance when, like, my aunts and everybody would come outside. They'd be like, yo, Marlon, come dance, right? And make me dance to, like, Michael Jackson and shit. Like, what I want to know is, like, where did the talent come from? Like, is your mother talented? Is your family talented?
It came from that, though. It came from him saying, go ahead, this the party. We're gonna win this dollar roller.
Right. That's like,
so I'm like, oh, shit, let me get that. What? Let me get that. So it came from all of that.
Right.
It also came from, you know, my mother does sing. All my sisters sing a little bit in the house or whatever. My brother played drums, Rich. But I want to say growing up in the church, you know, being in the choir. You know what I'm saying? That opened up your whole just musical spectrum. And when your sisters, you know, listening to Earth, Wind and Fire, and these are bands. This ain't just no, you know, 4-piece. These is like big bands. Right. You know what I mean? Earth, Wind and Fire, Cool and the Gang. You growing up listening to these things. James Brown. I mean, list goes on. You know, your ear is just, I think my ear got keen to just different melodies and tones of where music could actually be on octaves and scales. You know?
Let's go back to Big Ill, because the two of y'all really killed that era, 93, 94, 95. When's the first time you met Big Ill?
I think I'm going to say it 93. 93.
And that's when you guys were going to do the
demo. Yeah.
What was your impression of him when you met him?
MC, like ferocious MC, like Brooklyn. First of all, of course, at that point I wasn't going back to Brooklyn as much. I would probably go to Brooklyn like every weekend. To Green Ave, to my sister crib.
I live on Green Ave.
Oh yeah,
where? 192.
Okay, 1133.
Yeah, okay, down there, yeah. Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? Green Ave.
They let them come.
So, you know, every weekend over there with my nephews and cousins and shit, you know, doing what we do and just having ciphers. But it was different with Ill because he came with that tenacity of like I don't give a fuck what MC's in the room. Uptown was more smooth, like they'll snap on you and clown you and, you know, politely, diplomatically, like disrespect you. Because I still want to come back to your block and build with you. But Ill was more like, I don't give a fuck, who the fuck is in this bitch?
Where was Ill from?
Ill was from Flatbush.
He's from Flatbush.
Flatbush.
Do you consider yourself a Brooklyn dude?
I consider myself Brooklyn Uptown Connection. That's why we say buck, buck, buck is the sound and you drown. Because it's infused. It's both. I get the best of both worlds. So I can't just say I'm Harlem because I went to school in Harlem, but I lived in the Heights. I was up in Dykeman. I'm all city, really.
All city.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All six.
And that's a very unique experience for a child growing up in New York City.
Absolutely.
Because what people don't understand is New York City is very much segregated. Like, and what I mean by that, I don't mean by race. What I mean by that is cats that grew up in East New York have a different city experience than cats that grew up in Spanish Harlem.
Facts.
It's totally different.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but those of us who were able to like travel, venture out, go to schools, I always talk about. So for me, I'm very sheltered because my entire school, like elementary school, junior high school, was all walking distance. I never even used to get train passes, Al.
Yeah,
like, you know, they used to give you train passes if you lived far enough.
Right, yeah.
I lived in walking distance to all my schools. Yeah. I used to get the half fare. That's the bullshit. You get the half fare.
The white card.
Yeah, that's the bullshit, right?
I was his color every month.
Right, but if you was moving through the transit system, you was able to kind of capture all of the shit.
Yeah.
Right? So I respect that. Definitely. So yeah, I did the demo. What happens next?
We did the demo, and the label was like LG, I think, presented it to the label. Tony Prendat too. Salute Tony Prendat, and salute Big Ill as well. I still had a deal on the table because, you know, Alan Tech Experience had this thing where we was working through this production company, and it's like the label was like, "What's up? Like, you know, let's go, let's get some popping." So anyway, they presented the demo. I'm not sure if he had other songs in there. He might have had other songs in there. I'm not sure how that went. But then we got word back that they wanted to hear a remix to this Creep With Me song. So with that, the opportunity we knew still existed to really take advantage of this deal that's on the table. Right. And that's when the producers, Tony Prendat and LG said, yo, let's make some shit. And now we keep in mind, you got Doggy Style coming out, what's Dre's joint? It's
Chronic.
You know, you got some shit that's making you get even more influence to do something on a greater scale. So that's what we did with My Homies. That's the remix to Creep With Me, the demo.
That's the remix to Creep With Me.
That's the official
remix.
The
Where the Homies that we know is actually a remix.
To Creep With Me, the demo, yeah.
Right.
That's how that was birthed.
Right. So I want to get into, like I said, I want to get into that song because what I wanted to tell you is I believe that from like 92 to like 96 is like the era of hip hop where like the most impactful songs come out. Like you said, you had the Chronic, you had Doggy Style, you had Boot Camp Clip rocking the Shining, Soundboy Burial, right? West Coast shit was popping, MC8 was popping. You had Scarface in Texas and them dudes popping. You know what I'm saying? What's the song? When Bushwick, the Halloween shit, Mom playing tricks on me, right? I'm sorry, I couldn't remember it. But you had, from like 92 to 96, every region in the nation was putting out classic hits.
Solid music.
Solid. You had Redman, you had the Wu drop in 93.
Right.
Like, I would put that 4-year period against any other period in music, in hip hop, rather. Better than 88, and 88 was a big year. Kane, Al, all those cats dropped. Better than 88. 92 to 96 was shit. And here y'all come, and you got Where the Homies. And the first time I heard the song, first off, it was bugged to me because it was the first time ever that you had somebody from Brooklyn and somebody from Uptown actually announcing that they were from Brooklyn and Uptown, right? There's groups, but normally the groups is like cats from the same neighborhood. Right. You guys weren't from the same neighborhood, and you played on that in the video. When the first time I saw the video, you Uptown, son is with the bike, you know what I'm saying, rolling through with the Punisher shit on, right? So it was intriguing. But then the song itself was like crazy, and like the hook, you singing on the hook, and then the shit that I really love is the lead out. Come around my way. When y'all, that's church.
That's the church influence, bro.
Big facts. Tell me how big it felt to do that record, and once that record dropped, like give me a sense of where y'all was at in terms of pushing it. Like how far did that record take you?
Well, initially that record was just like I think it was Boot Camp. They did a remix and used the same Barry White.
Right, they used the Barry White sample.
So back in the days, if you had access to a studio, in most cases you could be in the studio just chilling, vibing, listening. So the loop was on repeat. I wrote a rhyme to it, and within my rhyme, I had the melodic part of I was kicking some shit up, you know what I'm saying? Don't be known as long as where my homies back into the rhyme. LG, stop, that's it. Yo, what we talking about, bro? Yo, that's it. Say that shit again.
Right.
Say that part again.
Right.
This is when producers really was producing.
They actually was producing.
Not just giving you a beat saying, go ahead, rhyme on it, because they name was on the line.
Right.
So he had me go in the booth, repeat that part again, switch up a couple of lines, and boom, 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 had Ill do his part, and then it took on a bigger meaning because I guess by saying we're my homies, and I want to keep referring back to him, obviously, because it was an influence. Creep with me. We know Snoop Dogg said creep with me as I roll through the hood.
Right.
So the producers, in tune with that, said, yo, listen, this record got to be big. It can't just be Brooklyn Uptown, dog. Y'all can say y'all Brooklyn Uptown, but let's make this shit to where we including all the homies. There's homies in Detroit. There's homies in so we know it's homies in every hood. So that's how it came to be in regards to why we handled it in a way where it was bigger than just being in New York.
So it was really produced to be a big hit.
I think it was definitely produced to be a big hit. And the last thing that was placed on it, Tony Printer, hats off, is that signature sound at the beginning. That however he did it with the modulation on the keyboard. And that's, I think, what gave it the appeal to like the West Coast and other areas outside of New York.
Right.
Because it wasn't just a loop at that point.
Right.
It now had some musical tone and texture to it, to where it's like, okay, let's check.
That's funny because I was going to say that. Like, it had everything. Like, lyrically, it was, gun clapping rhymes, but also getting money rhymes, but also unifying rhymes. And this is the thing, and we was talking about this earlier, me and Kyle was talking about how, in the 80s and 90s, rap was more of an umbrella. Like, there was so many lanes that could be touched. So y'all touched a lot of different lanes in that. It was melodic. It was all-encompassing. Where my homies, you know what I'm saying? Come around my way, right? That's all-encompassing. And then it spoke to the divergent styles of Brooklyn versus Uptown. And growing up in New York, right? There's always this Brooklyn versus Uptown kind of thing. It was fly. It was flashy. Sonically, it was in the pocket. Like, it was really a good joint, though.
Yeah,
like
that was a good time in hip hop, man. You know what I mean? Not to cut you, but that was just, just being in the studio, feeling good, and just doing, that's a part of just being an artist and being free. As opposed to a producer saying, yo, rhyme on it like this. Right. Now, let that man do what he's going to do. Let's listen and see and extract from him the pieces that we could make to make this a big success.
Now, y'all, you got the joint. It's killing the streets. You big now. Like, what's happening? You on tour. Like, where's the song going? Like, tell me that experience. How was it? Like, what was it in terms of the change in your life from where you were to now post?
Right.
Where my homies, like what was the change? And were you happy during it all?
It was a big change, and we definitely got busy in regards to just every day it was something going on. The phone was off the hook. Every day you had to be somewhere here, a car pick you up, go there. I think the biggest thing was visually things were happening. We had Ralph McDaniels, we had Video Music Box, but there was something else where people could call up and actually request to see the video.
Box.
Yeah, there was like different places to where people was recognizing me, and it was like, I like to be on the low. I'm the DJ. I'm in the back. I'm a graffiti guy. You see my name, don't see me. But to be out there and to be exposed and have your face out there, it was kind of like, I don't know if I was ready for it. It was cool, but it was like, yo, hold on, like private people, they seeing me, but they only seeing the video. But it was still a change into where it was like, oh shit, wow, we really out here. You know what I mean? So it put us in a lot of places and a lot of rooms around the country to where we got to network with a lot of people. I
want you to hold right there for a second. Tell me about a time when you realized you was famous. Like something that happened where you was like, oh shit, like people know me.
It was Brooklyn, man. It was Brooklyn. They flew us back in from somewhere. I don't know where it was from, but it was like one of these park festivals in the summer, man. And me and him got on. We did, I think we did Where My Homies. I think we did I'll Take Her. I don't think I'll Take Her was out yet. I think we just did Where My Homies. I'll Take Her was about to drop. Right. And when we finished, man, the crowd went crazy, man. Like we had to get a police car to get us out of Central Park. And that really blew my mind. Like that was mind blowing. I had my cousins there. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't get to me. Like that was some abnormal. Like, this is not real shit. Like nah, come on, bro. I'm because down the block over here. How y'all treat Why
y'all treat me like this?
Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm regular.
Right, but the reason why I asked you that, Alex, because I think like the perception publicly travels faster than your ability to accept that growth. So you're like, I'm me, but they're like, nah, you're illing out Skratch now.
That's the power of media and television.
Right.
That's what I believe. Because when people see something so much, it's programmed.
Right.
Like even my own people start, oh, you got it, you got the money, come on. Yo, bro, we working here. We just trying to get the flame on so we can start popping. But people seeing it so much, they thinking, y'all gotta be extra paid out of here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's facts.
Right. Like, and even Mace talked about that when he was on $1 Million Worth of Game, how like, you know, when the first time he did that joint with Biggie in Times Square, the whole hood was like, oh, he made it. He hadn't even signed yet. He didn't get no money yet. The clothes, the Vanson that he had on was like from a stylist, but the perception travels faster than the reality does.
I think it's also because you're doing so much more than what the average person is doing.
But that in itself is
aspirational. You know,
it's aspirational,
like,
right?
They're doing it like they want to do it with you,
right?
And they see you, you know.
Because that in itself could also be perception, right? Because it's like, I got one song, we got it right one time,
right,
and you creating this legacy of me, this kind of legendary perspective of me for doing something right. But Jay did say that you only got to be right one time, but it's just one time. Like you're not even allowing me the space to grow and develop this work before you judge it.
Right.
Y'all did something that was dope that I always like. I'm gonna see if you understand or you understand Los. So music videos back in the day was everything. Music videos was how you kind of perceived your artist. You would order it on the box or look at Video Music Box or MTV once they came out with your MTV Raps. And the music videos really told the story of the artist. One thing that I always used to like is when music videos used to be chronicle, or one music video would relate to the other music video. Right. That was dope to me as a consumer because it meant that you guys had a bigger picture involved that you're trying to tell. It wasn't just one off and one off. Y'all did that with I'll Take Her. Y'all started the shit at Junior's, where you ended, where my homies, and y'all even said in the car, yo, we did this for the niggas, now we about to do it for the ladies. Boom, I'll Take Her, another hit. What was your goal? Like, what were y'all thinking? Like, in terms of where y'all was gonna take this Ill and Out Skratch thing to at that time, in that moment? Because y'all was hitting. It was winning. The formula was winning.
Yes.
Ill was like this wild Brooklyn rapper. Al was like this smooth uptown cat with the raspy voice. Melodic. Y'all had the shit. Like, what was y'all thinking at that time? Because I would be gassed as fuck. Like, what was y'all thinking?
We was just having fun, man, honestly. You know, we wasn't thinking. That was really something where it was like, that took us to another level in regards to being in like other bigger rooms.
Right.
And being around other people. And being, you know, possibly nominated for Soul Train Awards and beat like that. Now it's like, oh, this is the industry now you're talking about?
Right, this is the real industry.
So now it's like, okay, cool, but we still Brooklyn uptown. Hood cats kind of, so you know to speak. So, but now it's kind of like your position, your posture changes. You have to really start learning fast, or faster, because we were still learning with my homies. But now when you're doing songs with, you know, somebody whose album is about to drop and they on some R&B shit and they smooth,
platinum artists.
This is the real, like, it's like okay. I don't think we was really ready, honestly, because the album was done. Some people consider it EP, really. You know what I'm saying? But I know that if more time was taken, we could have had a more solid, rounded, complete album. And to answer your question, we would have been able to think like, okay, this is where we're going. But back then, it happens so fast. And you can't like. I always tell my brother Los, like, yo, Los, I know we got to be at these parties. I say, but Los, he'll tell you the only place I want to be is in that booth. He want to be creating because he know when this shit get busy, that creative space, it's gonna be so much occupying that brainwave, you're not going to be able to be creative like that.
Right.
Or if you do, you're going to have writers and assistants.
Right.
I like to write all my shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's an MC to me. A real MC does that. And that's no knock on anybody that gets help and ghostwriting and all that. Salute.
Right.
But when you being dragged around place to place here and there, you don't even have time to be an artist. So we was just having fun. We was on the ride. We was on that ride.
You was on the ride.
We was on the ride.
And I talk to other guests all the time about, did you feel when it was speeding up? Right?
Absolutely.
And so a lot of people say, well, no, because like when you're on a boat and a boat goes fast, you don't feel the speed. But you're telling me you felt that speed. Like you felt y'all was moving too fast.
Yeah. Well, I want to say this. Imagine coming from the gutter, right? And then somebody telling you, yo, put on this suit, you gotta dress up, you smooth. You handling it for the grown people.
Right.
And you're like, yo, grown? No, we over here, we in the high school.
Right.
No, you gotta understand something. Right now, your perception is that of grown women and men is looking at y'all to deliver.
Right.
That's a lot of pressure to put on some young kids that ain't really ready, and you might not have a second or third follow up to that. You know what I'm saying? You're not really ready for that. You know what I mean? Musically, I'm talking about.
No, yeah, I get it.
You know?
Right. How did the album do? Y'all went platinum?
Somebody asked me that the other day. I think it is platinum right now. I know in 2000, I think it was 2001 or 2002, the label's no longer around, Mercury Records.
Right.
But I know the numbers was at gold or approaching gold.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure by now, I don't know what the numbers are, but that's something somebody just asked me that the other day. I'm going to do my homework on it and actually find out. You know?
Yo, I remember like 4 or 5 tracks that y'all had, man. Like I was really a fan of you, to be honest with you. Like out of Ill and Al Skratch, I was an Al Skratch fan because again, like I'm saying, you were very musical. Like you would rhyme, you would sing, you would, you know, be melodic, right? And to me, you was the better lyricist, right? But it wasn't because Ill wasn't lyrical, because he was lyrical, but you just really was saying things that I could relate to. So y'all have the album. What happens after that? Did y'all have a second album?
We had a second album called Keep It Moving. Right. Keep It Moving was done out of a result. I mean, the industry was changing, but there was a lot of consolidation going on. Right. And we was trying to get out of the deal because of some business that wasn't handled what we thought could have been more fair and equitable for all parties involved. Right. So when we did that album too, that was kind of like a rush. But you know what? These are creative juices and works of art that, you know what, you still took time. People don't understand the amount of energy and effort it takes to make just one song, to come up with just one 16 bar, besides a hook and a concept and the whole thing. So to have a whole, you know, playlist or a track list for an album, you know, my hat goes off to brothers that's been doing it for many years from back then, you know what I mean? But it takes a team to do that. It can't just be, you know, one person. Or maybe it can, one person with a solid producer, where they focus and they're not out and about in the world, and they just focusing in on that music, you know?
I had asked you earlier, you answered the question. During this time period, were you happy?
Which period was that?
From the time y'all dropped Where My Homies to the second album, in that whole whirlwind.
I was happy. I was happy that we had success and that the music was resonating with people. I was unhappy and dissatisfied with the way business was. You know what I'm saying? And that's that. With me and Ill were always 50-50. Like we brothers till today. You know what I'm saying? Like I just spoke to him last week. So, but just in regards to, I think when you have more hands in the pot, and unfortunately, especially when hands are in the pot that may feel like they're contributing, but they have nothing to do with this creative aspect of it. Your hand gotta stand. You hold on. You gotta chill. I mean, we could talk and communicate, but you can't just have your hand in the pot and grab when there's 4 brothers right here that's making this, that's feeding your pockets. Like, let's have a real conversation and get some understanding and say, let's work this thing out, because we do have something. Now I could see if we didn't have nothing, right? If we didn't have nothing, there's nothing to talk about, whatever. But we got something here. We got something that the people want. It's bigger than Ill Al Skratch at this point, you know what I'm saying? Because when I get brothers that's coming home after doing a stretch for 20, saying if it wasn't for Where My Homies, I wouldn't have made it through the yard. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or like a young blood coming to me saying, yo, thank you for making I'll Take It, because if you didn't make that song, my pops would have never approached my mom at the prom.
Wow.
You understand?
Right.
So it has a deeper meaning for me.
Right.
You know, but you gotta have vision and insight to let the creative juices be able to flow.
Right.
Or when you put money involved, and that's the thing about that 92 to 96 era you're talking about. That was right at the cusp where the money was coming in, because labels started seeing, oh shit, it's money. Now we can make money with it. Because prior to that, it was a crapshoot. Man, we're gonna make money with this. They didn't know how to market.
They didn't know how to do it. They didn't know how to deal with it. But part of the reason that happened is because of work like y'all. Because you created shit that outperformed their ability to market you.
Right.
Like, they didn't even realize they was gonna be dealing with the hits that they had. Like, Chronic is a good example of that. Yo, Chronic was phenomenal.
Crazy.
I don't give a fuck what Interscope thought it would be.
Right.
That shit was phenomenal. And it was not just nationally recognized, it was globally recognized.
Right.
And I was going to ask you about, when did you realize your music had a deeper meaning to people? But you said that. Like you said, people came up to you and told you.
Yeah. Like
right?
years later.
Yeah, because music is like that, bro. Music is not just something we listen to. Music is the soundtrack of our lives.
That's what they tell me.
You know what I'm saying? And so when you hear a song, it takes you to the moment where you heard the song in your life and where you were in life.
Right.
How was it like working with like Brian McKnight and MJ, all these cats? Like,
yo, blessing, man. It's like, you know.
So you're in the studio with these geniuses, and how you feeling?
I mean, just to get the call and say, yo, you're gonna work with this one, you're gonna work with that one. It's like, come on, you're bugging.
Y'all bugging, right? Oh, wow.
Y'all know where I'm from. Y'all
Right.
know where I come from. You
Right.
say I'm working with these dudes.
Right.
But it was a great experience, a blessing, and like you said, it's music that's timeless. That I listen to it today sometimes, and I'm amazed at the fact that that the music was even made, because if Ill and I didn't do that remix to Creep With Me, probably none of that would have existed for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
it's far-fetched, but it's also a reality check to know that whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. It may take time, it may be gradual, but as long as you believe in it and you stay passionate and resilient with what you believe in, like y'all 25 years doing this, I gotta take my hat off, because that's not easy.
It's not.
You know what I'm saying? For any business to be in business more than 2 years, 3 years. Even my brother Carlos Classic Material, like, the people appreciate you when you're around longer, and they realize, like, you're not a fly-by-night. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes the doors that open for you later in life in business, they might have a small opening, but once you open that door, you have a wider range to get to other people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's actually a good point. Right. You're right about that. You're right about that. So, album 1, album 2, what happens like in the early 2000s, 2010? Where's Al at? What's Al doing?
Al is taking care of family. Al is spending
You got
time.
kids?
Yes, Al got kids. You know, Al is taking care of his mom, his brother, his sister. You know what I mean? So I spent time with my family and making sure that before they passed on, my elders, that I would have no resentment in regards to going back to do this music. Because I would never want to be like, somebody who put the music first and wasn't there for my people who was there for me when I didn't have nothing. Right. So now that I'm doing my music, not to skip I feel content knowing that I was there all the way for my people, and I could do this wholeheartedly without any regrets.
You said you got kids. How many kids you got?
2.
What's the age?
9 and 26.
They talented?
25.
They talented?
I would say they're talented. I would say they're talented.
Yeah. It's very important. Fatherhood is very important to me. I got 3 kids. I got a 27-year-old. Okay. I got a 7-year-old. I got a 5-year-old. Right. So like you, I got generational. Like, I got an older one, then I got some younger ones.
Right. I'm about to have a couple more too.
I used to shoot up this club. Yo, what is it that you learned? Tell me if I ask you, Al, what's the one thing you learned from fatherhood? What would that be?
I mean, there's so many things to learn, but if you had to say just one thing, it's, responsibility, man. Just be there. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, that time I spent with my mom, my brother, my older sister before they died, like, that time, man, that's more valuable than anything. Right. And they learn from you. They sponges. They learn from you.
Right.
You know, even if you're not talking a lot, just by your actions, what you're doing.
Yeah.
Somebody said that today to me the other day. Yo, I hear how you talk with your daughter, man. That's beautiful. Just by my interaction with her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, responsibility, that's like loyalty. That's like I'm responsible. I got you. You know what I mean? Like, we got this bond. Like, I got you for whatever you need.
Did losing your mother put parenthood in a different perspective? And I'm going to tell you why I asked that, because when I lost my father in 21, it changed the type of father I was to my kids, because it made me realize, number one, I didn't realize that I talk to my father every day, or I think about my father every day. I didn't know that. I took it for granted until he died, that I either talk to him or think about my father every day, right? So then it made me think, well, shit, I ain't gonna be here forever for them. And obviously I know that, like I know life. But losing my father put that in perspective. It created like this sense of urgency that every moment that we share is even more so important.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So did you feel that at all?
I did feel that. I felt more obligated to be there, not only for my kids, but just for other people, other loved ones. Because one of the last things she said, be good to each other, love each other. You know what I'm saying? And that shit resonated with me, because it's like, I mean, I never really been around people that died and saying things when they last, you know what I mean?
Right.
But to hear your mom saying, be good to each other, love each other. Because she knew a lot of shit that was happening. And sometimes in family, shit is fucked up.
Fact.
So she knew that it was chaos, and she knew that when she passed, it might be whatever, but she said, be good to each other, love each other. That's all you got to do, really. All that other shit don't matter. So that really held heavy on my heart.
When'd you meet Carlos?
Carlos, I met in pre-pandemic, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
We met at a Tony Toka party, man.
Not the joints that was at
Cielo.
Oh, Cielo. Okay, yeah.
Toka Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Remember when he had it at what was the name of the spot where Mecca, the restaurant, used to be? Downtown.
Not Sutra.
Sutra, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Sutra. Right.
That was 2018, Los?
Before that, I think.
Yeah, I think it might have been before that.
Yo,
Before that.
I saw Tony at the De La thing, so I was walking right before I saw you. So I gave him a pound. I was like, "It was good. How's everything?" Like he acted like he didn't know me, right? But nigga, I love you, Tony. I love you, dog. I need you to come on the show, you know. But so you met Los. Tell me about that first experience.
Man, that first experience, because Los love hip hop.
Absolutely.
So I think if anybody inside a Tony party, they know it's going to be some hip hop shit going on. So anyway, I don't know if I'm passing him or he's passing me. He's with Clark Kent. I think he was with Static Selector. And he just tapped me, like, he was like, first of all, I'm on the low. I'm thinking I could be low. You can't really be low, especially with Deuce. What do you think you can? He said, yo, okay, yo, I like your music. I said, yo, for real, yo, thanks, bro. I appreciate that. And then we just started chopping it up, natural conversation. Yeah. You know, nothing special. Yeah. But his energy, I felt his energy in regards to like his calmness was like, it wasn't regular. It was more like it was like a brother who I knew, who I ain't seen in a long time. You know what I'm saying? And I think I made mention about some gear or something. I was like, yo, that's dope or whatever like that. And we kind of chilled with each other around the party. But then I think we exchanged numbers. I came by the store.
Bought some gear.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We chopped it up.
Right.
You know, I think he ran some product for me, right? You did some merch for me, right?
Yeah.
And then he even opened up the doors like, yo, wow, you might want to do something here at my store. Open up the doors, allow me to come through. And from there, we just had this relationship to where, you know, we kind of like speak every day, honestly. You know what I mean?
Now, I can tell that about Carlos, because like he's like a conduit. Like he's going to give you the energy, and he's also going to share that energy with others. You know what I'm saying? Like we met him, like I met him years ago. I met him at a mutual friend of ours, Kim. She had when he was doing the butter pecan, the snapbacks. They were snapbacks. They wasn't fitted.
Okay.
The joints from Wu-Tang.
Right.
So when they launched those at Bakery on Bergen, I was there. I met him. Right. Years later, you know what I'm saying? We sitting here, right? We connect through the interview. Texting him. We was talking about the De La shit because I couldn't get I couldn't get my ticket at first. We was both trying to get tickets or whatever. Saw him at the joint. It was all love. Whenever I connect, I went to a store. It was all love.
Okay.
Whenever I connect with Los, it feels like you said, like it don't feel like a new friendship. It feels like this dude is a cat that
I know him.
Right.
And it's not fake. And
Right.
It's
It's
the same
not fake.
energy every time. Every time it's the same energy.
Right. And so he's kind of like a conduit. He's the reason you sitting here. You know what I'm saying? Because he believed in the work that we was doing to the level where he was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna get out. You know what I'm saying? And when he said it, I'm like, okay, well, I hope he gets out. And then he got out. You know what I'm saying? Right, he got out. So
he ain't gonna say
I got a great deal of respect for this man.
Yeah.
And I look forward to our abilities to connect the dots in the future because I know that he's solid in what he said.
Yes, he is.
Tell me about the Basquiat brothers, because that shit, I fuck with that name alone.
Oh man, Basquiat brothers. Anybody knows? I mean, like Art Basquiat is Puerto Rican and Haitian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Haitian. Los is Puerto Rican.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we was on our way going to South Carolina to edit a video, and he got these playlists that he put together that he curated. I'm like, dog, you should be a DJ. Like, what the fuck is like you hip hop? He was like, yo, I just think my equipment. He was like, but I got vinyl. When we built it, I was like, yo, you know I DJ, right? He was like, yo, you DJ? I'm like, yeah, I DJ. So, you know, we playing joints back and forth or whatever. He's naming joints. I'm like, yeah, remember that? And then somehow, some way, it just came about like, yo, we should put something together. I said, yo, listen, I'll bring my equipment to the store. You know what I'm saying? Let's just fuck around. And I brought the equipment up. He got on. He was fucking around with it. I was fucking around on it. The energy felt good. Because, see, sometimes you, and this is no knock on prior DJs that I grew up with, sometimes back in the days, DJs ain't want you to get on. Other DJs, not on their equipment.
No, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Los got on. Los got his own shit now. Like, you know what I mean? He in there, he doing his thing. So I'm proud of my brother because he got vision. You know what I'm saying? When we came up with Basquiat Brothers, it was more like it tied in because, like I said, he's Puerto Rican, I'm Haitian. But just from the art standpoint, it's something that we feel globally is going to impact people in regards to not only the hip hop we play, but just we call it music for it's music for the lovers of music. Like if you love music, his array of music is so vast. And growing up in the 80s in New York and the 70s, we heard everything, man. We heard everything, man. We heard Blondie, right? We heard
Bowie.
Right. Cyndi Lauper, Phil
Cyndi
Collins.
Lauper.
All of this was hip hop to me. In the Air Tonight.
Right.
Right?
Everything.
Right.
Everything. And we
George Michael's, right.
We made it hip hop.
Right.
Even the Clash.
Culture Club. Remember Boy George? Right.
Yeah, all that. You know what I'm saying?
This was hip hop.
Right.
This was hip hop. So you still doing music?
Still doing music. You know, during the pandemic, the height of the pandemic, we got an opportunity since the streets was closed to do, I think, about 16 or 18 videos, you know, freestyles. One of them was actually was an actual record with Large Pro called Be Original. I think we did like maybe 3 real joints, like the Shady joint, Be Original.
It was like 4.
Or 4 joints, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, New York City Memoirs.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got a collage of videos that we do too, as far as the Basquiat brothers. So it's DJing, it's you know, it's shooting videos. I'm dropping some freestyles in the next week or 2. We're gonna be shooting some, and I'm putting together this first solo Skratch album. Like through the story I told you, see, I've always been with a group, but by default, this is where I am because of my passion and how I just love to do this music thing and be a part of hip hop culture at the same time.
How do you feel about the industry now, the music industry, particularly the music that is front facing, right? The younger music, we got drill, we got trap, we got all this stuff. How do you feel about musically what's going on? Are you inspired? Are you motivated? Are you disgusted? Like, what do you feel when you listen to this new music?
I think with music, there's a place for everything. I just think in this time that we're in, it's marketing that's really dominating. It's not the creative aspect or the messages in the music that's at the forefront, spearheading things. But when we grew up, we were game changing. We were trailblazing. So we were cutting edge. I don't know if this music can be considered cutting edge. What I will say is, you know, lyrically, I'm not inspired by it. There's a few out there who I am, and they know who they are. And I think people in hip hop culture know who they are. I'm not trying to badmouth the drill or trap. But to me, if the music doesn't have a message in it that's going to do greater good for the community and the village, then to me that should have a place on the back. Because there's some real messages that need to be presented out there. You know what I'm saying? Like you spoke about having children. And I thought about coming over here today, the situation in Nashville where 3 innocent children got slaughtered in school. You know what I'm saying? Now, if this was in the 80s or early 90s, that'll be some shit where there would be a movement for that. Musically.
Especially people would talk about it.
Musically, and a record would be made for it. And that's with no dollars behind it. So if those brothers had the power and the dollars and the resources right now, there would be a campaign, there would be a launch, there would be, especially Nashville is the
home of country music.
There would have to be. There would have to be. But I don't think anybody in music right now is thinking about that or any record label. You know?
I don't think I don't necessarily think there's a social component. Like we grew up at a time, I was talking to Kai about this offline. Like I was born in 1975. I was born 7 years after King was killed. When I was young, that shit seemed like a far way away. But for my elders, that shit was like this. Like imagine 7 years ago. 7 years ago is 2016. We going through the tax stone trial. They just had to think that shit happened at Urban Plaza 7 years ago, and we still dealing with it, right? So we came up in an era where our parents were fresh off of this black nationalism, this fight, this civil rights, and so that bled into our social consciousness. These kids now, if you're 20 years old. If you're 20 years old, you was born before 9/11. Imagine that. Imagine not being born when 9/11 happened. Like how crazy that is. I can't even speak to where their social consciousness is because I can't relate to their childhood because I don't know what it was. Like 9/11, Katrina, like
it could all be cell phone or laptop.
Everything was digital for them.
You know what I mean? But that goes to what Frederick Douglass was saying. You know, these children, not all of them, but a lot of them, they're born into situations where they don't have to worry about a lot of things. You know what I mean? They kind of have it. And Frederick Douglass said there's no progress without struggle. We had to struggle. You know what I'm saying? So when you struggle, that's when you're going to try to achieve that progress and, like you said earlier, elevate and get to that next level. That's why you run. That's why you do certain things, because you challenge yourself. Within the community, you challenge yourself to be better. So that way, on the outside, you can exert that energy and hopefully raise the level of the community. You know what I mean? But they don't know about that. Some of them don't.
There's a dude, so it's something redeemable in every part of it, right? And that's why I would never demonize any genre of rap, right? Because I can look, I'm intelligent enough to look into the genre and to pick what it is that I feel like could be redeemable and grow and develop and create something. There's a rapper named Chef G. You know who Chef is, Carlos? You know Chef G? You know who Chef G is? Yo, Chef G is a wild kid, right? Like, he was known, like there was a Facebook era maybe 5 years ago where young kids was like flipping on their ops and filming it and putting it on YouTube. And that was a real thing, right? And so I first came upon Chef G. He had a fight in the court. He was at court. He saw a dude that he had beef with, and they had a fight in the court. He's actually locked up now. He's doing time on a gun charge. But Chef G, musically, I listen to his music, he got that shit. Like even though he's what one would consider a drill rapper, he's socially conscious enough to move the needle in that space. And I'm looking forward for him coming home because I really want to hear his growth. But I'm only bringing him up to say that, you know, old people always be shitting on young people's music. When we was young, our elders shitted on our music. Fuck is you listening to? That shit is trash. They were too myopic to see the promise in it. And I'm not that way when it comes to drill rap or young people's music. There's issues that I have with it, but I am compassionate enough about this culture to be able to really do homework and really see out and seek out what is possible in the music. Pop Smoke was another dude. Like Pop was a church. I know people that went to church with Pop. Right? So he gets a moniker for being, you know, drill rap and obviously, you know, passing away, getting killed. but he was somebody in the culture that really could have grown and developed it if given the chance.
Right.
You know, so I just think that as elders, what we don't want to do is we don't want to be blindly negative to anything.
Exactly.
Because the fact of the matter is, even if they're not our children, they are our children. And they will listen.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers don't really realize that. They'll listen if what you're saying makes sense. Now, if you're going to be shitting on them and you're going to be disrespectful to their experience, then they're not going to listen. They're going to close up.
Right.
But they're looking for OGs like you, like me, like Carlos, to really sit with them and really build with them on what it is, on life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Especially those brothers who weren't fortunate to have a father in the house.
Facts,
because that makes a big difference.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm realizing too. And like you said, they're young. They deserve the opportunity to grow. I mean, imagine if they would have tried to really shut down, let's say, argument's sake, KRS-One because his album was called Criminal Minded. Right. Look what he's going on to do. Just on the levels of consciousness for people, right? All people, not just black people. Mm-hmm. Look at 50 Cent, right? 50 Cent now is impacting the GDP. He's got people working, but imagine those shots that he took if they would have took them. Imagine what Pac would have been doing. Right. Imagine what Big would have been doing. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So you got to give young kids the opportunity to fall, make mistakes, scrape their knee, brush that off, and say, listen, that's the lesson. Right. It's not a loss, but this is how you want to improve and elevate.
Bruh, at 25 years old, Malcolm X was robbing niggas with a comb. He changed his whole life in a matter of years. Right. So we got to be conscious about that and show grace to these young dudes. Mm-hmm. But we also got to be arbiters of the game. Like, you're an authority in hip hop, bro. And nobody should disrespect that. So when you speak, you don't just speak as Al from Washington Heights. Mm-hmm. You're Al Skratch. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that should be recognized. So I'm saying all that to say in a roundabout way, like, you know, you're working with Carlos and y'all doing some amazing shit. How do you see your role in terms of the culture moving? We're at Hip Hop 50. I'm actually going to talk to you. I actually want to talk to see if is you and Il still doing shows?
Not at this time.
Okay.
You know, remember I spoke about me being there for family and having that time to do that. So, you know, my people was much older. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to talk personal stuff, but you know, my man got his space to handle what he gonna handle. He pops out sometimes. Right. Shout out to Big L. Yeah, shout out to my man Big L. But you know, at this point, what I see is, I spoke to somebody about this earlier too. It's like I'm at the stage where I want to give back. You know what I mean? And when I say give back, it could be time. It could be, you know, just inspiring children. I remember just being a young guy myself, watching the DJs plugging the RCA plugs and setting up the equipment and just being in awe of, like, what is this going to happen? These big towers. And, you know, you inspire people like that. And my trip to Brazil to the Goodwill Foundation, being in front of children that don't even speak English and not understanding the language, but can recite the lyrics of your song and the chorus. That's crazy. That's inspiring, bro. Right. You know what I'm saying? If one of those children got inspired to write a song or not to be negative in the street, I feel good about that. I'm at the stage where I want to give back. It's not really about me. You know what I'm saying? In the aspect of, I'm trying to be successful. Right. My success is going to be based upon the legacy I leave back and what did I do for generations that's coming after me.
Are you living in your purpose?
I think I'm on the road to completely, yes, but I'm not there yet. We just tapping the surface on it.
We still see it.
We tapping the surface on it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yo, I just, you know, for me, my purpose is to be a servant.
Absolutely.
Right? To be a servant in community, to be a servant for family, to be a servant in anything that I do in life. Right? And a lot of motherfuckers don't like that word. They think that shit means something different than what it means. Right? And so, in that vein, like, you know, whatever it is that Carlos and that you were working on, however I could be of support, that's my role, is to be of support for that.
Appreciate
in a very real way.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Right,
very
having us on, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I was doing some research and I came across an article where they listed the top things that make individual people happy. And you know what the number one thing was that makes people happy?
What is it?
And that improves your health?
What is it?
Generosity. Isn't that crazy?
I can see that.
People saying sleep, this, that, money, you know, exercise. It's giving. It's being a giver.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that.
I can see that too, but
Yeah.
it blew my mind to think like, wow, how unselfish of someone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To be just a giver, to be generous with whatever it is you can give. It ain't gotta be money.
You know why I can see that? Not from the perspective of a giver, but conversely, how deteriorating it is to constantly be a taker. Imagine if you could not give of yourself.
Right.
I cannot imagine a world that I cannot give of myself.
Yeah, that would be hurtful and painful at the same time.
Right, it would be painful. So I get it. Not from the standpoint, because I'm still learning how to be generous. And sometimes, like, I have an issue with it. Like, even today, when I came in here, I was overwhelmed. I did a lot today. People was hitting my phone for various things. And I was just like, yo, this shit is too much. But the fact of the matter is, this is what my life is called for. This is this plate you set for yourself, right? But I could not imagine not being able to give, because that is a very corruptive kind of thing. So I want y'all to keep giving, bro. Like that's what you know, if nothing else, Al, you're always going to find yourself in places of success if you give of yourself.
I believe that wholeheartedly too.
That's facts.
And it's easier to give than it is to take.
It's easier to give, and it's morally, it's much more morally responsible.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you take, you are creating a deficit. When you give, you're adding on. Right.
All the time.
Right.
All the time.
Kyle, what's up? This is pretty good.
I want to be a philanthropist when I like.
What?
Like honestly, like.
Yeah, but we do talk about that
kids
though.
to
She's not lying.
Like I want, like that is my
that.
dream.
That's dope.
Like
That's dope.
yeah. Because you just change people's lives, and like it like literally gives me goosebumps when I'm able to, like when students come in and like I feed into them and I'm like show them like, look, this is what I built. This is what you could do. It just makes me feel real good.
I was telling Carlos when he was here about going into the schools, like, and I think that at some point, because he got a wealth of knowledge, right?
Yes.
And so I'm in the schools. I teach hydroponics, actually. Like, I have a hydroponic lab. I like plant, right?
Okay.
And when I go there, them third graders and fourth graders and fifth graders, they love that time with me. It ain't but 40 minutes. But to them, it's everything, because it's not even the shit that I'm teaching them, because I could be teaching them anything. But the fact of the matter is, I look like their uncle. I sound like they pops, right? I'm from where they from. They see me, I had a student this week. She saw somebody that I had brought to class when she was in third grade. She's in fifth grade now. She saw a young lady that I had brought to class, and the young lady was in a laundromat. Young lady saw her and said, look, tell Mr. Rice that I said hi. So the girl comes in class, Mr. Rice, Mr. Rice. You know what I'm saying? She a little Dominican girl, a little fifth grade Dominican girl. Mr. Rice, I saw Miss Celine. She told me to tell you hi. Right? So now she gassed it with the other girls. I saw Mr. Rice's girlfriend. And it was funny to them. It was funny to them, right? But I'm saying that level of connectivity means everything. Imagine if you could connect with a teacher that way.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? What that makes you feel. It makes you feel I'm part of something.
Right.
And our children need to feel like they're part of a web, so that they know, like, look, Mr. Rice is in classroom, but I may see this motherfucker on Fulton Street. Yeah. I may see somebody that knows him. If I'm acting up, somebody may tell Mr. Rice. Yes. And that's what we're missing in our communities. That's the shit that we grew up on that doesn't exist anymore.
All the time, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
How we doing? What they talking about?
We're doing good. Mario Palomara said Albie Square more fire, so tell him when you...
Facts. This is a Hip Hop Closet original piece, Mario. We do this right here.
Yes. And classic material.
Right, because we also got classic material. We got the classic material. Right, indeed. This is a family affair.
Entrepreneurship. Yeah, I mean, people are just feeling it.
You got questions? What you want to ask, Brother Al?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I'm all ears. Let's shoot.
I mean, I don't know. I was thinking when y'all were talking about the DJing and how they have, what's that new equipment?
Serato.
No, it's not Serato. It's the one that separates the vocals from the beat.
The stems.
The stems. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about that, because I feel like now that that's around, it's made it really, really easy to do what DJs work so hard. Like, you still have to really know music to make that, you know, make a good blend.
Right.
You know, like blends were everything for us back in the day. You know, like you went to a party, you heard a dope blend, you're like, oh, shit, what is this?
Right.
But now I feel like that's made it really easy, but it's also kind of skipped a step where you don't have to figure out how to do it. And I've heard some really whack blends. And so, I say all that to say. So, like, how do you feel about it?
I feel, you know, first off, salute to brothers like Grandmaster Vic, Ron G.
Yes,
People who did it when you actually had to hold the middle of the turntable and slow the record down before there was pitch control and really blend it and, like, you know, fix your EQ. You got DJs that take that as a science. Right. But, you know, I was the same way when the CDs came out. And I had, you know, I had dropped down to like maybe 25, 30 crates of records. And I was like, I'm not playing these CDs. I'm not with this CDJ. This is technology. I can't do it. I can't do it. And people was telling me, Mr. CB, yo, bro, you're going to have to get this. We can't do this. Is it. It's going to be some other shit coming called MP3 files. It's going to be all in the computer. I'm like, come on, that's going to mess up our game. But at the same time, technology is always going to do that. In regards to DJs who's got the money to get that equipment and just doing it, a lot of times on their Serato, they shouldn't even be on their DJing. You know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, it's kind of like if you haven't DJed on real turntables, you know, if you haven't gone through certain elements of the culture, you don't deserve to get that thing because you got money. You really need to pay your dues and understand the fundamentals of why you're blending. Right. And how blending really came about. You know what I mean? Right. So, I mean, I'm for it in one way, but at the same time, like I had it, I downloaded it by accident, but then I got rid of it. Because it's kind of like a cheat. I don't want that. I don't need that. That's too much. Because me as an artist is saying, yo, bro, you know how many hours it took me to do With My Homies? You know how many layers and how we had to mix that and master that? And now you just strip it down in a matter of seconds? So to me personally, it's like, for lack of a better word, I'm being raped as an artist when that happens. You had to wait for somebody to press that up on the plate, and maybe there was 100 a cappella vinyl records available with that. Right. And only real DJs like a Larry Levan or a Louis Vega
really
or somebody.
Had that.
That's it. Because you got to deserve to have access to that. You know? So that's my take on it.
I think the commercialization of the culture, while it has been good, because I think at this point in the game, you could be an independent artist and be rich. You can be very wealthy off of doing everything out your house. Yeah. You don't even got to go to a studio. You never have to talk to a major label. Right. You just got to have a YouTube channel and an Amazon account, and you can rock, right? So there's good parts of it, but the consumerism of the game created like these, like it's like minute rice almost. Yeah. So you go to the supermarket, you could buy Carolina Long, you could buy them, or you could buy the minute rice, right? And it's like there's people that choose to be minute rice. Like I know DJs, they are not really DJs. They just got a Serato, they got a laptop, and
they got a couple of songs, MP3 files,
and they call themselves a DJ, and they go out and try to make a living being a DJ. Right. I stay away from that shit because for me, I'm somebody who is like I love this shit in real time. So I'm not going to deal with people who are minute rice type people. Right. But we got to understand at this point, the hip hop culture is that. It's like that. It's like minute rice. Even with rappers. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Like even in rapping, like people think they could just blah, blah, blah some shit. You know what I'm saying? Not deal with no real patterns, not deal with double entendres, not deal with similes or analogies or all that shit, metaphors, not telling no stories, which was germane to hip hop coming up. Yes. Right? Yes. And they think they can be rap artists. So, you know, we just have to, I think the point of Hip Hop 50, if we don't learn anything else, number one, young kids ain't fucking with Hip Hop 50. You ain't hear Drake talk about Hip Hop 50. You haven't heard Fabio talk about hip hop. None of them, that generation, they don't care that it's 50 years old. Right? The reason why it matters to us is because we are the architects of it. And as right, because we're 50 years old, right? Right. So we lived it, right? We grew up in it. But part of that responsibility is it's on us to kind of continue the truest form of the culture. Because imagine if we don't. I got a daughter and son, like I said. I got 7-year-old and 5-year-old. They come around, they run around hip hop closet. My daughter be trying to shit on and shit. Imagine if we don't show them the truest form of it, and all they eat is minute rice. That's why America's fucked up right now, because all we eat is fast food. Nobody cooks at home anymore. So that's kind of what we're doing. Is we are the people that are charged with continuing to show and prove the truest, most authentic form of the culture.
Right. I agree with that.
And we got to support one another, because the only way that we're going to be able to do that work is if we support one another in that work.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree. And I
Tracy,
think that, somebody had something?
Wow.
Yeah, no, Tracy just said, Tracy Lee, salute to the good brothers, Marlon and Ask.
Yo, Trey, I need you to come, bro. I need Tracy Lee to come up.
He needs to come back up.
I need him to come back up, man.
Great conversation.
I need him to come back up, man. Of all the interviews that I've ever done in life, my interview with Tracy Lee was probably the most.
He's a good brother, man.
Bro.
He's a good brother.
That was a great interview.
That was a great interview. I love Tracy Lee, man. Tracy Lee's a good brother.
Good too.
Yeah, but intellect and foresight and seeing the big picture, that's him.
Yeah.
That's him.
He's got it.
That's him.
Gil blends. How many of us had them blends?
Right. Yo, but what's this other technology they got, right?
G-Bro, yeah.
They got this technology to where that you can sound like Eminem. Your vocals will make you sound like artists. You know that, right?
Word.
Did y'all-
But that AI shit
yeah,
crazy
the
now.
AI shit, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy now. It's
Right?
crazy now.
So it's over.
Right. It's crazy now.
I got to patent my voice, basically.
Right. Because they could use it.
I got to talk to Trace. We got to talk about that.
Yeah, he said he's coming up. He said, just say the word, I'm there. So, Tracy, I said the word. I'm text you, Tracy. I'm text you.
Yo, we got a good thing here, man. I just feel like.
Wait.
Yeah.
Carlos has a question.
Carlos, what's up?
Yo, Al,
Yeah.
how was it work with Michael Jackson?
Oh, man.
How did that come about?
Specifically,
Right.
yeah.
How did that come about? Michael Jackson.
That was crazy, man. That was a phone call we got from the producer down in DC, in the DC area. What do they call it? The DMV?
DMV.
DMV. Charles Rowan. Salute Charles Rowan for putting that together, hooking that up. But it was on Michael's song, They Don't Really Care About Us. And if you know about the history of Mike, you know he was going through a lot at that time.
Yeah.
So
Even that song, the original, he was like Jew me, kike me, that whole shit.
Correct.
The whole shit, he had to change it and everything.
yeah, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like to be selected to be on a song with Mike J, but the one that has such an impactful and deep meaning, you know what I mean, that he really felt strongly about. I feel like, man, that's the ultimate blessing, because it's not just a party or a dance song. It's one of those listen to songs where it's like, you know, it's a legendary guy, but before he's going out with this music thing, he's letting you know, like, yo, they don't really care about us. And I think about that shit a lot. It's unfortunate, but like, they don't really care about us, bro. And when I say they, I just mean whoever the shoe fits, let it,
They
you know.
them.
Yo, for real, like, you know what I mean? It's gotta be some shit where it's like you go through something where you realize, oh shit, they really don't care. And Los was saying this on the way up. He was like, yo, people will eventually show you who they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to stress nothing. That's why he's always the way he is. He's like, yo, I ain't stressing it. Like, people gonna show their hand, bro.
Every time.
You know what I mean?
Every time.
But what a blessing that is, man.
Yo, was you in the studio with him?
I wasn't in the studio with Mike.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? I think at that point he was super paranoid.
Yeah.
Even when he did the 2 videos in Brazil.
Yeah.
I mean, when I went to Brazil, I forget the name of the town, but it was the first place where Africans landed over in South America. And it's a heavy place. It's where they're coming down with the big drums or whatever. But I could only imagine, you know, being tortured by the media and ridiculed, and you're trying to do so much. Like, you know, we love the kids, right? And you know, I know people may have their feelings on it, but I don't think that man would have did anything to any child. And people have come out to it today and said it was all a hoax, and their parents put them up to it. So it's kind of messed up how that happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I saw something where he was trying to do something with he was trying to buy Disney or something.
Some Marvel shit that just came out. That it just came out. Like, Michael Jackson was like into Marvel and wanted to like cop the whole.
Right.
Because the thing about Mike and his later life, Mike was copping masters. Like, he was copping early. Like, he was cop the Beatles masters.
Like, dissed him and he bought
Eminem.
their whole cat.
Eminem.
Right. He said he bought the cat.
He bought Eminem's masters. The story is, him and Paul McCartney was sitting, they was eating one day, and Paul was saying, like, yo, the money is in owning masters. And Mike was listening like, yo, word, Paul, right? He's like, yeah, nah, the money is in the masters. He went and bought the Beatles masters. Right. He bought Paul's masters, right? So Mike was very astute when it came to shit like that. And this new shit just came out about the Marvel piece. And I don't, these days when things come out, man, you got to take it with a grain of salt, because between AI and fake news, I don't know what the fuck to believe anymore.
Yeah.
But if that was true, it really speaks to the genius that was Michael Jackson, because Marvel at this time is like a $50 billion industry now. You know what I'm saying? Billion with a B, right? So it makes sense. It makes sense.
Russo Brooklyn says, shout out to y'all kings. Yo, Al, what's good? We miss you out here. Any new artists you want to do collabos with?
Any new artists? I got, my A&R usually handles that. I got A&R. I mean, listen, I want to work with everybody. You know what I mean? The way I feel. But,
I'll be shutting it down. I'm sorry.
Right, you shut all that down, bro?
Yeah, I do. Shutting it down, man. I think what it is, it's like his pieces, like he's hand selective. I know Los he has mad ideas.
Right.
And some of the shit made in concept, that'll be dope. But he's like, nah, that's not, I'm not trying to drop a piece that's going to just do that right there. When he drops his pieces, he wants people to be like, yo, that's a piece I wish I would have caught when he dropped it.
Right.
Damn, I ain't got it. Like
he's good at that. Like the Lil Kim piece.
Yeah. So even with the music, even with the freestyles, because I'll rhyme on anything.
Right.
Los, will I rhyme on anything?
I'm like, no, Al, no.
He's like, no. I'm like, yo, this beat is banging. Yo, let me. He's like, yo, your rhyme is hot, but this beat, get it out of here. Scratch that. So,
Yeah, Joe Bro said Los the A&R. Los has impeccable taste.
Nah, man.
Shout out G-Bo.
G-Bo, what up?
G-Bo's watching.
Yeah.
Shout out to G, man. Shout out to G. Yo, this has been dope. Another amazing conversation, another amazing force in the culture. I just love, I'm going to be honest with y'all. What I love, Kai, is the energy that we're bringing into the space. Because, first off, anything that you want to be successful at, you got to be consistent at. Right? Even with the running. You can't reach the level that I've reached without being consistent, getting up in the morning, running 3
conditioning.
Right. And so when we made this decision in January, I'm not gonna lie, there's been times when we were like, yo, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna take a break, right? We're gonna take a break. But the fact that we've been consistent in it, it's drawing up an energy that we're winning now in this shit. And we got you here, come on, Ralph McDaniels, April Walker, we got all of the people that built and developed this culture sitting right across from us. Right? So it's good work. And I'm looking forward to what we do at Hip Hop Closet moving forward. I thank you, Carlos, bro, because you're a man of your word, because you said, yo, I'm going to get y'all out Skratch, and you got to say out Skratch.
And I definitely text a couple of, you sure it's good?
Right. Nah, he's not. It's good. We good. You know what I'm saying? And so, but you wouldn't do that if you didn't believe in what we were doing.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's not just the fact that we support rocking the shit. It's not that. That's different.
Easy.
That's easy.
That's easy.
The fact of the matter is you came, you saw, and you kind of believed in the work that we're doing. And no one succeeds alone, bro. We can't do this shit by ourselves.
It's impossible nowadays.
You can't do it. So the only way we're going to succeed is if we come in contact with people who are like-minded. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Look, when I posted this shit and you hit me on the DM, I was like, yeah, that's my guy. I can't wait to talk with him. You know what I'm saying? And
I'll be trying to stay on that thing too, man. You know what I mean? So
there's value to it.
Yeah. It's just so much. We're in the information age, so it's just so much shit coming when I search. I gotta, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's value to it. Yeah, and we gotta be able to use it in the right way.
Yes.
We good.
Wait, is it my time to shine?
Yes, it's your time to come up.
It's my time to shine. Hey, thank you for coming out tonight.
Check the kicks. Wait, show me the kick. Show me the kick. Kick game is crazy.
Customs?
Are those customs, guys?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Los got the Air Max shit on. You know what I'm saying? He's killing it.
Air Max day every day.
Yo, we never let Jay say anything. You want to say something, Jay?
Yeah, you want to come?
Jay never say. You want to come to the front? Come on, Jay. You never let Jay say no.
What's up? Yeah, I just want to say peace to everybody. Yo, great song, great music.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, bro.
My soundtrack too.
All right.
Peace.
All right. We will see you next Tuesday.
Yes.
Peace and love. We enjoy you being with us, rocking with us, and we'll see you soon. All right?
Yes, peace.
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 Awesome.